The summer heat feels different this year, softer, quieter, but heavy with memories. The summer I turned pretty returns with a bittersweet beginning. As Belly's life drifts into a new chapter she isn't quite ready for. The story opens with Belly stepping into her college journey at Finch College. She tells herself that this choice isn't just about academics, it's about Jeremiah. Somewhere deep down, she believes that being closer to him might heal the distance that's grown between them. Her friend Taylor, who has been her constant through every heartbreak, is still tangled in her on-again, off-again romance with Stephen. Meanwhile, Belly's mother, Laurel, is quietly observing. While helping Belly settle into her new dorm, she overhears a familiar name, Agnes, mentioned in a conversation with Conrad. The sound of that name lingers in Laurel's thoughts like a whisper from the past. Later, she encourages Belly to stop living in the shadows of others and to start embracing her own story. 3 years have changed everyone, and the weight of time is visible in every interaction. Belly is nervous about attending Jeremiah's graduation, a milestone she should be celebrating with him, not watching from afar. But life doesn't wait. Laurel calls her, reminding her that Susanna's memorial service is being organized, and the cousins, Jeremiah and Conrad, are both expected to speak. Conrad, now deep in medical school, is a changed man. Though he seems to be thriving, his confidence hides a storm. He confides in his therapist about the dread of returning to Cousins Beach, a place filled with ghosts of summers past. Back at Finch, Belly walks with Jeremiah across campus. She reveals that a knee injury has kept her from playing volleyball, but she's found a new passion in sports psychology. Stephen, meanwhile, is busy with his internship at Adam's workplace. When Belly drops by, he hides, not wanting to face her. A small detail that says everything about his complicated love life. Infidelity hangs in the air, unspoken yet everywhere, between Stephen and Taylor, between hearts that never quite learned to stay loyal. During a late-night study session, Belly receives a life-changing email. She's been accepted into a study abroad program in Paris for her senior year. Her heart bursts with excitement, but when she tries to share the news with Jeremiah, his mood shifts. He admits he won't be graduating on time. He missed core classes while switching his major and now has to stay another semester. Belly hesitates to tell him about Paris, fearing it'll break the fragile balance between them. Later, Stephen's secrecy finally unravels. Belly learns about his and Taylor's unfaithfulness and the emotional mess it's left behind. At medical school, Conrad and Agnes receive thrilling news. They've both been selected for a prestigious summer clinic position. But the joy is short-lived. The schedule means Conrad won't be able to attend Susanna's dedication ceremony. When he confides this to Laurel, she understands, though it stings to think he won't be there. Elsewhere, Taylor and Stephen cross another line. He spends the night in her room, and by morning, she's torn between regret and desire. "Not tonight," she says softly when he suggests they do it again. Her voice caught between reason and feeling. Soon, the campus buzzes with finals freakout, a chaotic gaming event marking the last weekend before exams. Belly and Taylor join the fun, trying to distract themselves from all the emotional wreckage. During the chaos, Conrad calls Jeremiah's phone. Belly answers. He hesitates, his voice soft, familiar yet distant, and hangs up after saying he'll call again. That small moment burns in Belly's mind. Jeremiah's father, Adam, calls him soon after, furious about his academic struggles and the financial strain they've caused. The tension builds as Belly and Jeremiah head out to dinner with Stephen. The night takes a turn when Stephen casually mentions Jeremiah's impulsive spring break trip to Cabo, the same one that may have ended everything between him and Belly. Belly insists it was just a fight, but Stephen sees through it. He urges her to be honest with Jeremiah about Paris and give him the chance to support her dreams. That night, Jeremiah opens up to Conrad, admitting he misses their dad. Conrad wants to tell him about his new job but can't bring himself to. Their family is still healing in fragments. At a college party, Belly finally tells Jeremiah about Paris. To her surprise, he smiles. "Go," he says. "You deserve to be happy." It's the kind of selfless love that hurts the most. Meanwhile, Conrad and Agnes shared drinks, reminiscing about old days when she once had feelings for him. The conversation drifts to love, and Conrad finally admits he never learned how to be alone, especially without Belly. Before leaving, he scribbles a note for Jeremiah, an apology, an explanation, and the truth that he won't make it to the dedication. At the same time, Belly overhears a girl named Lacey gossiping about Cabo and Jeremiah. Her stomach drops as realization hits. She confronts him, demanding the truth. He admits it. He was with Lacey, but he insists they were broken up. Belly's heart shatters anyway. She walks away, tears blurring her vision, the sound of summer laughter fading behind her. Episode 2. The Past Comes Knocking. The second episode opens with a flashback, the kind that hurts to remember. Belly sees a flight confirmation for Cabo on Jeremiah's laptop. When she asks him why he didn't tell her, the argument spirals. Insecurity and jealousy pour out, raw and unfiltered. Jeremiah suggests they take a break. Belly, heartbroken and tired, agrees. Spring break passes in silence. No texts, no emails, just distance. When they finally meet again, Jeremiah apologizes, begging for a second chance. They try again, but the shadow of Lacey lingers. Belly still can't forget what he did, even when her heart wants to. Back in the present, Belly isolates herself, ignoring his messages and skipping classes. Taylor tries to comfort her, but is torn when Lacey, the very girl at the center of the storm, unexpectedly shows up. Belly refuses to see her. Meanwhile, Laurel's storyline takes a surprising turn. At a literature conference, she bumps into her ex-husband, John. What starts as polite conversation turns into nostalgia, shared laughter, and stolen wine. Old chemistry rekindles, but it leaves Laurel wondering if she's walking backward through her own life. At medical school, Conrad works tirelessly under Dr. Namazi, a perfectionist who expects nothing short of brilliance. Agnes watches him struggle to balance the emotional weight of family and medicine. Stephen, now single again after breaking up with his girlfriend Maya, decides to see Taylor. Their dinner feels like déjà vu, a mix of tenderness and unresolved chaos. He tells her he wants to start over. She tells him it's a bad idea, but fate has other plans. On the way home, their car collides with a speeding truck. The impact changes everything. Taylor calls Belly in tears, urging her to rush to the hospital. Belly instructs her to contact both Jeremiah and Conrad. Panic spreads like wildfire. Conrad, upon hearing the news, pleads with Dr. Namazi to connect him to the hospital treating Stephen. His focus cracks. One small mistake, mislabeling a blood sample, costs him his internship. Namazi tells him to go home to rest. But rest is the last thing Conrad can manage. At the hospital, Stephen lies unconscious. Taylor confesses her love to him, even though she fears he might never feel the same. Belly watches silently, heart heavy with guilt and worry. By morning, Stephen's CT scan comes back clear, he'll recover. Relief fills the air, and for the first time in weeks, everyone breathes. Taylor decides to end things with Davis and start fresh with Stephen. She's certain now, love, no matter how messy, is worth fighting for. Elsewhere, Laurel wakes up beside John, the past once again crossing the present. She finally checks her phone, seeing Belly's frantic texts, and rushes to call her back. Belly's anger is raw. She feels abandoned during the night she needed her mother most. Meanwhile, Conrad texts Belly, asking about Stephen. Their messages are short, cautious, the kind shared between people who still care but don't know how to say it. A final flashback pulls us back to the last Christmas at Cousins. Belly was alone that winter, content with quiet and solitude, until Conrad showed up unexpectedly. His flight was delayed, and instead of going to ski with his dad and Jeremiah, he stayed. They spent the day together, awkward at first, then easy, almost like old times. When she slipped down the stairs while exercising, he caught her and laughed, the tension breaking like thin ice. For a moment, it felt like the years between them had never passed. But when Jeremiah called, she didn't mention Conrad was there. The next morning, Conrad found a sticky note on the kitchen table. "I'm glad you came." He smiled faintly, a smile that said everything he couldn't. Back in the present, Conrad talks to Agnes. She reminds him that sometimes the heart needs to speak louder than logic. Stephen finally wakes up. Taylor tries to tell him how she feels, but he stops her, not out of rejection, but realization. He already knows. They share a quiet, emotional moment that feels like a second chance. In the hospital foyer, Belly and Jeremiah cross paths again. The silence between them is thick, but Jeremiah breaks it first. He promises to earn back her trust to make things right. Belly hesitates, but something in his eyes feels real again. They talk about life, how fragile it is, how quickly everything can change. Then, almost on impulse, Jeremiah asks her the question he's been holding back for months. And this time, Belly says yes. The summer may have turned pretty once, but this time it's turning real.